One memory that I have is probably the most profound memory in possibly in my life. And I remember that I was running through the house and I tripped and fell on my sister's toy sewing machine. She had a toy sewing machine. It was, back then they made toys out of metal. And I tripped and I cut my left knee, and it was a very severe cut. And at the time, I think we were going through quite a bit of financial problems, and so we didn't go to the doctor. But I remember what my father did. He went to the closet, got a sheet out, started ripping the sheet, and started putting it on my leg, stopping the bleeding. More sheets as the bleeding, went through. And I guess what I remember most about after he wrapped my leg, and it was this mummified leg, I remember him holding me. It was shortly after that my father was killed in a one-car accident. My mother, she started telling people she had killed him. Well, the neighbors called the police and CPS were called. CPS finally decided that they could no longer keep us. But my mother talked CPS into saying, well, I have a sister that lives in Fort Worth. She has a great job. She works for a lawyer. She's makes good money. Now, what she didn't tell CPS, and this is before, like all the technology where you can look up records and that sort of thing. My aunt had actually been picked up for prostitution here in Houston. Any kind of abuse you can imagine, that's what happened. After my aunt died, there were the four of us by ourselves, pretty much. And the lady across the street, she actually called the church secretary. Her name was May, and actually that evening, May and her husband, Ed, came and picked us up. The only way that they knew how to control us was through severe discipline. However, we went to church every Sunday and every Wednesday, and we got to participate in youth group. I fell in love with Jesus. What I would say is, from early on, I had a sense of the presence of God. And I knew that God had a plan for me. But early on, I started getting a sense of what kind of father I wanted to be. And I remember my father, my birth father, when he was holding me and he would comfort me. And he was like passing on love to me. And that's the way I thought of the Father's love. And of course, being raised the way I was raised, I told myself that, that I wasn't going to raise my children like I was raised. I'm like every father in the world. I've messed up with and I can't tell you how many times that when I was, especially when the kids were at home, I'm sorry, forgive me for doing that. And so, as a father, I've always been very sensitive about saying anything negative to my children. And I've just wanted to build them up. I want them to be the best they can be. And of course the most important thing was for them to be Christ followers. The legacy that I want to leave is not, so much a name or money or anything like that. It's the legacy of Christ followers. So that's the legacy I want to leave.